So, just a little update on the Scout again. I've driven this thing just a shade over 200 miles now. I've taken it to work twice, which is about a 60-mile round trip. And then taking it next town, that's about 15 miles round trip. And then maybe 20 miles round trip. Been doing great. Took it to work the other day. It was 90 degrees plus, probably about 95. Drove it down the interstate, 70 mile an hour, temp gauge. It never creeped over. Oh, it was up to 180. That's all. It never got over 180. So yeah, she's doing good. I got a couple hundred miles under her belt now, so I'll do a good shakedown on things. Make sure I don't have anything coming loose that I don't want coming loose. I got a couple of shifter boots I got off of Amazon. Get the light messing me up here. They worked out pretty good. I just screwed them down to the floor. Here, let's just get rid of that altogether. So yeah, they work pretty good. And then, let's see what else I got. I put new weather stripping on the driver's door here a while back. It seems like it's working pretty good, so I went ahead and I got enough weather stripping to do the other side, on the passenger side. Of course, everything comes from China anymore. And then I've gotten the heater box mounted in place. It's a little further back than the original location, but on the 62s it was on the driver's side. Later years they put it on the passenger side. I'm going to I had to move it back a little bit because of my brake master cylinder. There's supposed to be a tube. Let's get this back here just a little bit. There we go. That helped a little bit. There's supposed to be a tube that runs from the heater box to your vent box. What I'm probably going to do is get a piece of metal pipe and notch into the pipe and extend it out here, and then I can connect on the flex pipe to there. It's just super tight quarters with the heater box being on this side. And then that'll give me the chance, because I still don't have heater hoses ran to it yet. Got my 3/8 drive extensions plugging the hoses off there. So then I will run heater hoses from there to the heater box. And then I'm just going to have a manual on and off valve inline. That way during the summer months I can just turn that valve off so the hot water won't flow to the heater box. And then when I want to, in the wintertime when it's colder, just come out here, raise the hood, open the valve up, and then the hot water will flow through the heater box. And you're supposed to have a flex pipe that runs from here. Originally ran through here because that's where the radiator was originally, and so there was a screen here to collect fresh air. So I've got a big radiator in the way, and I'll have to figure out a way. I'll run some flex or something, and I'll stick it down off in the corner or something to grab some fresh air. And in the kind of the same with this side. This side's supposed to be a fresh air inlet. And I don't know what I'm going to do for sure. I'll either run the flex off to the side here. I don't know. I'll figure something out so you can get fresh air in the cabin and not get any noxious fumes from your motor. But that's all coming along slowly but surely. I did have to move my brake lines out a little bit more to get the heater box put in here, but that's no big deal. I'm trying to think what else I've got going on. Oh, I've got I don't know where all that stuff's at right at the moment. But anyway, the front axle for the Blazer was vacuum actuated, and here is the bracketry. There's supposed to be a vacuum pod hooked to that cable, and then there's a vacuum pod that sits here with a vacuum line. And so when you pulled the shift lever for the transfer case, it actuated a vacuum switch, and it would vacuum actuate that pod, pulling the cable to engage the front axle. So I was originally thinking of just mounting this to the fire or the sidewall here in the fender well, and then running a hard line cable through the firewall with a push-pull end that you could lock in place. But I did a little research, and I found a pneumatic switch. This is a valve that you can hook to. It's supposed to be for air, but I don't see why it wouldn't work for vacuum as well. You hook a line to it, and then depending on where your switch is, pull it out and it will draw vacuum, or technically it's supposed to add pressure to whatever you want to work. And then you close it and it either shuts off completely or it goes to the other line depending on what you want to do. So I don't see why it wouldn't work, or at least ways I'm going to try to hook vacuum line to it. And I'll plug off the hole I'm not going to use so it doesn't draw vacuum through that empty hole. And then I'll run a vacuum line from the other part of this to the vacuum pod for the front axle actuator. And then so there'll be vacuum at the bottom of this all the time, but it's not going to be doing anything with the switch closed. So just like a wiper switch would be for vacuum wipers. So then when you want vacuum to work whatever it is you want it to work, you pull the switch. And that should, in theory, actuate that vacuum pod for the front axle. So that would be simple enough to mount either on the dash somewhere or there on that firewall, or however I want to do it. So I think I'm going to give that a shot. I think this valve was like, I don't know, $10 maybe. Comes with some fittings. I don't know. It's worth a shot for that price. Can't hardly beat it. I got some stainless steel bolts to try and work on my window frames. Try and get those gathered up. I've got all summer to do that because I'm not going to be putting the windows in. I tell you what, when it was 90 some degrees the other day, it gets plenty hot in there. So I don't think I want windows this time of year. But other than that, just plugging along. I'll rack up some more miles on her. Like I said, I'm going to give it a good shake down. Make sure I haven't missed any nuts or bolts. I noticed the other day, and I was underneath of it, I never tightened up the transfer case cross member bolts. They were just finger tight. So it's a good idea to shake her down ever so often. I kind of do that. My 48, I built it. Well, it was about a 10-year project, but I actually got it on the road last year. So about every couple hundred miles, I just shake it down, just make sure there's nothing coming loose. So anyway, I get some more things figured out on her. I'll let you guys know. Thanks.